Welcome to Chapter 8. So let me warn you right now, Chapter 8 is a lot of vocabulary. So Chapter 8 notes will be a lot of writing for you because you need to know this vocabulary. I cannot stress this enough. The vocabulary in Chapter 8 comes back all the time the rest of this year, in Math 2, in Math 3. If you don't understand this vocabulary, you're going to be less successful in the future. So make sure you're writing out the vocabulary words, you're understanding what they're meaning, you're asking questions if you have them. Why write them out? Studies have shown forever, like when I was in high school, studies showed that if you write something out, you have a better chance of remembering it. Okay, so intentionally write it out, say it out loud as you write it. And I'm going to keep saying this through Chapter 8. This vocabulary is mucho important. I don't know if I'm using mucho right, but because I don't speak Spanish. So please, if you don't understand what something is, ask about it. So now that I have said that spiel, let's get going into our introduction to geometry. There we go. So, point, line, plane. 3 words we're going to see over and over and over. Okay? A point has no dimension. We say it represents, a dot represents it. So we would say this is point A. You should already know that because we've been putting points on graphs, for years, right? Okay. A line has 1 dimension. Okay, we can draw a line, right? Be very, very careful as we get into Chapter 8 and further on. A line has arrows at the end because it goes on forever. It extends without end is the fancy way of saying it. It goes on forever. Okay, so we have to put those those arrows on the end of our line if it's a line. Okay, otherwise it's a segment with endpoints, which we'll get to, don't worry. And really, a line is made up of a bunch of points. Just a bunch of points all put together. Okay, there's an infinite amount of points on any line because a line goes on forever. So, if you have 2 points, this is what this is saying. If you have 2 points, only 1 line will go through both of them. Okay, you're probably going, yeah, Miss Hemming, of course, that's stupid. But we have to tell you that. Make sure you understand that. And then a plane has 2 dimensions. This is not a plane that flies through the air. This is a geometrical plane. Okay, it's a flat surface. If I said, what's a plane, and you said it's a flat surface, that's good. That's the definition we're looking for, okay? Your walls, your floors, the desktop, the screen of your Chromebook, those are all planes. So it's any flat surface, and it can have any number of points on the flat surface. When we are drawing one, because we can't draw 2 dimensions, right? So we usually draw it kind of like a slanted, this is actually looks like a parallelogram, kind of, okay? And you need 3 points to name a plane. Okay, so you need 2 points to make a line. You need 3 points, any of these 3 points together would work, to make a plane. Okay, so what I didn't talk about the line. So we would call this line, we would name this line by the 2 points. So we would name it line AB. And you'll see here, if I move my scribbles, that we have this right here. Okay, we're going to talk about this more. We would write AB with a little line on top to say it's line AB. There is no symbol for plane or point, so we would write the word plane ABC or point A. We'll get into that more, I promise. So, we need to give 2 other names for, this is line PQ, because it's got the little arrows on top, so line PQ, and plane R. Now, how can we name this plane with 1 letter? Because this R out here isn't a point, it's saying that's the name of the plane. Okay? So where's line PQ? Well, here's the P and here's the Q, so that must be line PQ. Okay? So, how else could we name it? Well, we could name it backwards. We could name it QP. Okay? And then notice this little n out here. It's a little n, lowercase n, and it doesn't have a point next to it. Okay? So that's saying we could call that line N. And for some reason we tend to put those in cursive. I don't know why, but it's an identifier, is that it's in cursive. So it means something. I don't know. Okay, so that's the answer to A. And then B, oh, I'm sorry, we didn't answer. We didn't do the plane R. So plane R is this plane we can see here, right? So how else can we name it? Well, we can name it by any of the 3 points that are on the line. Okay, this M right here, it's a lowercase m. There isn't a point there. That's saying this line is M. Could be M. So that's not one of the other letters we could use. So we can say plane, any of the other letters, V, S, T. Or plane P, T, V. Okay, and you can put them in any order when it's a plane too. So we could really have like plane P, V, T. Okay, using the same letters but in a different order. So, and then I'm not going to answer, yes I am. So name 3 points that are collinear. We're actually going to talk about collinear in another video, but collinear would be on the same line. Okay, so S, P, and T are all on line M. I'm going fast with that one because we're going to talk more about collinear in another video. Coplanar means that they're on the same plane. Okay, so you want any 4 points that are on this plane right here, which would be anything except Q, because Q is not on the plane. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I'm trying to make this video short. So here we go. By the way, if you did not write this down, go back and write that down. So here we have segment and ray and opposite rays. The difference between a line and a line segment is huge, and it matters to you. Remember, a line we name by having the arrows, right? Well, a segment has endpoints. There are no arrows, there are endpoints. It ends at A and it ends at B. So we would name it AB with just a segment on the top there. So we would say this is line AB, and this is segment AB. And there's a difference, because remember, AB goes on forever. Line AB goes on forever. Segment AB has a defined start and end point. And then a ray has one end point and goes on forever in the other direction. So it has an end point and an arrow. And we would name that, switch colors here, AB, and we would put a little ray over the top. And here's where this really matters, and where I'm going to be looking on quizzes and tests and stuff, is that if the end point is at A, then your end point needs to be over A on your little top thing. So if you really wanted the B to come first, you would have to draw it like that. I even have trouble drawing it like that. Okay? Technically, the endpoint letter should go first. But I wouldn't mark off if you have it like this and you do it correctly with the endpoint still over A. Okay? And then opposite rays are really just a straight line, but they have a defined point in between. So you've got a ray going this way and a ray going that way. Okay? And we'd really just call it a line AB, but you could also call it line AC or line CB or any combination thereof. Or I should say any order. So again, a segment has 2 endpoints. A ray has 1 endpoint. And opposite rays have a common endpoint. Let's name some here. So we want to give another name for segment. I know it's a segment because there aren't arrows there, right? GH. So here's segment GH. It goes from G to H. How else could we name that? Well, we can't use the J because it's halfway-ish in between, right? We want to go all the way from G to H or from H to G. So we could call it segment HG instead. We would not use that J. Even though it's on the segment, it's not one of the endpoints of the segment. And then we want to name all of the rays. Remember, the rays have one endpoint, right? All of the rays with endpoint J. So here's our endpoint J. So we're going to have J, we could have JG, we could have JF. Notice that I'm putting the J first because that's where the endpoint is. And we could also have JE, my daddy's initials. Okay, and then the question is, which of these rays are opposite rays? Well, the ones that make up lines. So JE and JF make up opposite rays. And JH and JG make up a line, so they make up opposite rays. Okay, so when we're sketching things, just do your best. And just the assignment that goes with this video is really where we're going to be sketching a lot, just to make sure we're understanding the vocabulary. Okay, so what we're trying to figure out is what do we get when we intersect our things that we were learning about. So if we intersect two lines, we get a point. We kind of know that because we just did the system stuff, right? And when we intersected two lines, we got the point that was the answer. Other things you might not think about really is when we intersect two planes, so this kind of horizontally one and this vertical-ish one, we get just the line where they touch. Okay, think about it's where they touch, and it's just that line. And we can talk about this in class, and I can hold up pieces of paper and stuff like that. It's hard to do this on a video where you can't see me. So we want to sketch a plane and a line that is in the plane. So we've got this plane, right? And a line that's in the plane. That's it. I would actually say this is on the plane, really, right? That's it, you're done. Okay? And then next we would sketch a plane and a line that does not intersect the plane. So here's your plane, and then some random line that's not on the plane. That's it. Okay, don't let this be more complicated than it really should be. And then a plane and a line that intersects the plane at a point. Okay, this one's kind of tricky because you have to kind of visualize it. So you've got a line, right? Or a plane. Think of a piece of paper, okay? And think of your pencil as the line, okay? And so we're going to stick that pencil kind of into the piece of paper in the middle, right? This is where I wish I could use my hands to show you what I mean. So that point where the pencil kind of sticks up out of the plane, out of the piece of paper, that's the point we're looking for right there, okay? So you could do something like that. Usually we put like a dotted line underneath to show that there's more coming out the bottom, okay? Again, don't let this be more complicated than it is. Do your best. I can't read what that question is. Hang on a second. So we're going to sketch two intersecting lines A and B that lie in plane W. Okay, so we've got a plane W, put a little W in there. Okay, two intersecting lines that lie in plane. Well, two intersecting lines, an A and a B. Put your arrows so we know that they're lines. You're done. Okay. I put the solution on here because I wanted you to see. I'm not an artist, so hopefully this looks a little better. So for sketching two planes that intersect in a line, we draw the vertical kind of plane. Think of a piece of paper, and shading it might help to differentiate the two. And then draw a second plane that's horizontal. That's this guy. And notice the dotted lines because really it's behind the yellow one. So we put dashed lines to say it's back there. You just can't actually see it, right? And then where they intersect would be that part right there. Okay. Think about if you had two pieces of paper and you wanted to show this, you probably would need to cut that blue one in half, right? And then like glue it or hold it up so it would look like that in person, right? Where you cut it, that's that line right there. Okay. That's all I got. Again, the important thing here is this vocabulary. Please make sure you're writing it down, that you have questions, that you know how to write the different pieces. Okay. And ask me questions in chat.